the white-tailed deer. Perhaps the most beautiful, agile, and elusive game animal in all of North America. Each fall, countless numbers of hunters spend millions of dollars and most of their waking hours in search of this magnificent animal. Nearly all will admit the white-tailed buck is the most sought after and the most difficult trophy to get. But the hunt is more than the need to have something to decorate a hunter's den or the office wall. And it's more than the desire to get away for a while. It's as basic as hunting has ever been. Man pitting all his cunning and skills against a wild animal in its own environment and with its raw instinct to survive. Hello, I'm Lloyd Colby, 1979 winner of the Muy Grande Deer Contest. And I'd like to tell you a little about this most prestigious of deer contests. It's but one of the many deer contests to honor those trophy hunters good enough, or in my case, lucky enough, to come away with the biggest of the big bucks, the Muy Grande. This story is about real hunts with real hunters in real circumstances with real kills. So if our footage is a little shaky or off color at times, it's only because our hunters were quicker than our cameraman. But I think you'll enjoy what you're about to see. You know, it's been said that 20% of all deer from Canada to Mexico live in Texas, and that many of the largest of these live in the South and West Texas area from San Angelo to Brownsville. In fact, until recently, the largest non-typical Boone and Crockett whitetail ever known to have been shot by a hunter was in Texas. This is that truly magnificent 78-point trophy. Right in the heart of this prime hunting territory is Freer, headquarters and home of the world's largest white-tailed deer contest for over 20 years, the Muy Grande Deer Contest. Just as the swallows return to Capistrano each year, big buck hunters descend upon Freer and swell its population from a normal count of about 3,000 to a deer season high of around 12,000. Oh, you can almost get buck fever just entering the city limits. If you don't catch it there, you can bet you'll get it when you pull into the Muy Grande village to register for the contest and to hear a hunter tell his deer hunt story from the back of his, as we call it in Texas, pick-em-up truck.
Okay, this is no fancy story or anything. You hunt for a long time and you drive along in the car and he pops out there, and that was all there was to it. And he was about 100 yards from me, and couldn't make up his mind whether to go through the fence or jump it. And he just made a decision a little bit too late.
How much does he weigh?
He weighs 143 right now. When we weighed him right after we killed him, he weighed 150.
And how many points?
If you count this broken point right here, he's got 17 points. Last year was kind of slow. We didn't do very good. This is probably the best buck we've taken off that leash. As far as points, we've taken some bigger bucks with a lot wider spreads, of course. But this is off the place. It's been managed for about the last 5 or 6 years. It seems to be paying off. We've been letting a lot of bucks go. The last couple of years, I haven't even killed a deer. We've been passing up as many as 10 bucks a day during the best part of the season. We'd like to think this is what happens when you do a little management.
You get one?
Yeah, I got one.
How big?
9 points.
Where's he at?
Leonel Garza, known as Muy to almost everyone, started his contest back in 1966 because of his love of hunting whitetails and his need to share that spirit with other hunters who could understand the feeling. We trophy hunters are glad he did.
That was down there. Round him up, and I told him to
To
go
watch
up there and
another
look at
bet.
him. He said he came up to him. Lucio, yes, sir. Untie this rope here so we can weigh the deer.
How much do you think it weighed?
About 106.
106 pounds?
No, say 120.
All right, you want to make a bet on it?
Bet you weighs about 101 pounds.
No, it weighs more than that.
No, I say 120. Okay, let's go.
You get the scales over here lined up. Buddy, you want to get over here? And how far was it when you shot it? Is that it? About 100? How much does he weigh?
103.
103. Lucio, you lose $1. Yep. Come on.
Why?
Because you said 120 and he said 101. Maybe he had already weighed it somewhere else, so you don't have to pay the $1.
Oh.
Set in the rugged South Texas brush country, this contest is open free of charge to anyone willing to brave the elements and the various wildlife in search of the elusive granddaddy of granddaddy whitetails. But if you're coming down here to take your chances, don't think it's going to be easy, because this is also the country of the coyote, the javelina, and the rattlesnake, as well as the boar hog, the bobcat, and the mountain lion. You know, we have a saying in South Texas, in the brush country, it either bites, stings, scratches, or sticks. Now, if you're willing to pass up 10, 15, perhaps even 20 bucks that others would treasure a shot at, then this area's for you. Like nowhere else, it takes persistence, a keen eye, and patience to take that trophy buck that may just be big enough to come close to winning the Muy Grande Big Buck Contest. Of course, if you're a serious whitetail hunter, you already know that your chance to kill a big buck doesn't come along often, usually during the rut. Since the instinct of mate is so strong during this time, bucks often abandon their usual cautious behavior. But this is your opportunity, and maybe the only one, to take advantage of his single-mindedness. No good deer program would be complete without some scenes of rutting behavior. Since rubs and scrapes are an integral part of the rut, let's start there. This beautiful footage demonstrates how a buck will rub his preorbital glands against the limb of a bush or tree so as to leave his own unique scent for an interested doe. At the same time, he very well may also thrash his antlers against or chew on some available low-hanging branches. Scrapes are oftentimes in the area on the ground below the rub. As we see here, a buck will paw the ground with one or both forefeet. And then urinate in the scraped area. Doe, in their estrus period, are attracted by scent to the area and will often also urinate in the buck scrape. Then the chase is on. Because a single buck can breed as many as 20 to 30 doe in one rutting season, it isn't impossible to see a buck with 2 doe. I've got a few hunting buddies that have tried that. Horn rattling, to mimic 2 bucks fighting over a doe, is the most widely used luring method for whitetails in this area. Here, Muy and fellow hunting guide Greg Aguilar show a 2-man rattling technique for our camera. Notice that Muy strikes the antlers together, waits a moment, and then scrapes them on the ground at the same time Greg is breaking branches of a nearby bush. It doesn't take long to see the results. Now let's see how hunting near a rub and scrape can pay off. Louisiana hunter Buddy Spiller decides to set up his ambush spot near a sendero and close to a rub and scrape he noticed on an earlier scouting trip. For you folks not familiar with South Texas, a sendero is a strip of land cleared of brush. Sometimes this is the only clearing, other than a road, a hunter has in the mesquite and cactus thickets of this area. As any good hunter, Buddy quietly moved into place long before the sun broke over the horizon. He's checked his equipment, and he's been patiently waiting, scanning the area all around for any sign of movement. His experience and persistence are rewarded a little later, when, from seemingly nowhere, a nice 13-point buck glides from the brush about 100 yards away, pausing for a moment to check for danger. Even though his silhouette is broken by camouflage and the sun coming from over his shoulder, Buddy knows any movement at all will cause the deer to be startled. The buck begins to move behind a yucca plant as Buddy slowly raises his rifle. A moment later, it's a good solid hit, and the deer drops. Buddy stays put, his trusty .270 ready should the deer jump up. After a short wait, it's time to take a closer look at his kill. Still cautious, Buddy approaches. And throws a couple of sticks at the buck, making sure one final time the buck is down for good. Now it's time to unload and reflect on his good fortune of hunting near a rub and scrape. After field dressing his prize, Buddy and Muy load up the deer and talk a little about the hunt.
Pretty good one. Darn good one. I heard the shot.
Yeah, I got him right through the high.
Where'd you get him?
Right. Came out right there and hit him on the other. Got in the center of the other lung.
Real nice, typical deer right here.
Well, you called him a 12 or 13?
He's a 13-pointer. Anything, you got anything?
I don't usually count those little ones.
Right.
I'd call him a 12.
You know, we had seen this buck earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And as a crow flies, I'm going to say at least 3 miles.
Yeah.
Or when this rut starts.
Well, he came from that direction.
Is that right?
He's going toward that scrape.
Yes, sir. Right up there. Well, I'm telling you, you sure did made your trip worthwhile.
326 long steps.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Buddy, I'm going to ask you the honest, and I want for you to be fair with me. How far was this animal when you shot him? It looked pretty important. You know, it's important that you tell me the truth, you know, because we're going to continue telling the story.
Yeah.
You say 300 yards, or we say 50 yards. You know, I got an estimation how far he was. So, how far was he?
Oh, he's I was about 80 yards from him. Maybe it might be 90, but I would say probably 80.
Buddy, you said that you shoot a 270 rifle.
Right.
Do you, what kind of grain do you use?
Oh, bullet?
Yes, sir.
Well, I hand load. I always shoot a 130 grain Nosler petition bullet. Been using that bullet that style bullet for, probably 25 years. It's, according to the book, it's moving about 3,180 feet. No, right at 3,100 feet per second, which is pretty fast bullet. That's why it knocked him down.
Oh, it knocked him?
Yeah, well, he never, got out of the Sendera here.
Fantastic. Well, I guess it's about that time for you to going back to Louisiana.
Head home.
And maybe next year we'll get together again and arrange another hunt or so, and maybe this time we'll...
Might come down and go bow hunting next year.
All right, that'd be fantastic.
Appreciate it. I'll see you back at the village there.
All right, we'll see you then.
Okay.
Other hunters are still streaming into Muy Grande village to stock up on supplies, to have their deer processed, or to just check out the competition. The aroma of fajitas cooking on mesquite wood fills the air. It doesn't matter if you're from Pennsylvania, Alabama, or Wyoming, like some of these hunters are. This mouth-watering meal is hard to pass up. Another day, another hunt. This day, our camera goes along with Pennsylvanian Greg Brabobus, hunting on the Las Lomas Ranch just south of Freer. It's a cool, misty day when Greg enters his ground blind about in the middle of an 800-foot road. The sun has been up for about an hour, but because of the constant drizzle and the dark overcast skies, visibility is only about 200 yards. A certain excitement fills the air. It just feels like deer weather. Conditions like this make a fella glad he didn't forget his binoculars or his long-handle underwear. After a while, Greg spots a 12-pointer he decides to take. The young whitetail works his way up one of the ruts in the road, unaware of the blind or the hunter. Greg raises his rifle. Waiting only for the buck to turn. His chance comes a moment later. It's a clean neck shot that immediately knocks the deer down. Greg reloads and waits. A couple of minutes later, it's time to exit the blind and take a closer look. The deer continues to move, so Greg is extra cautious. After a quick pose,
This is my first Texas buck. I'm a hunter that just happened to be at the right place at the right time to get this 12-pointer.
Greg joins his dad and uncles, who are all down for a little South Texas hunting.
Well, you know, this is about our 5th year coming down here in South Texas, and
That's right.
kind of fell in love with this old South Texas country and their bucks.
Me too. And
And the cactus.
in the cactus, that's right.
You get a couple and you miss a couple, don't you?
Yeah, I missed a nice one this morning. In fact, I saw 2 nice ones this morning and missed one of them. The other one I didn't get a shot at, but they were keepers, I'll tell you that.
Greg, you connected this morning.
Yeah, got a 12-point down there. First South Texas buck. First Texas buck.
Well, he's worth keeping too, I'll tell you. He's a good one.
The only thing I know is bad about coming down here every time between Christmas and New Year's, we miss Penn State football and their major bowls every time.
Yeah, that's right. But maybe it's worth it.
While a hunter's waiting for his buck, there's a chance, and a good one, that he's going to see a variety of other wildlife, sometimes in their own bizarre rituals. In this area, at this time of year, the mating game isn't only limited to the deer population. Javelina, one of nature's ugliest and smelliest animals, also begins to feel the urge. This amorous pair decided to strut their stuff for our camera. Over the years, there have been many hunters who have been a part of the Muy Grande deer contest. Politicians, famous athletes, movie stars, presidents of major corporations, and plain old hunters like me and you. The prizes have ranged from rifles to binoculars to scopes. But the prize offered to the winner of that first contest was only a wristwatch, a watch that Lionel himself had won earlier that month in 1966 at his gas station for selling the most tires in a tire contest. The winner, Homero Garza, no relation to Muy, still has that watch. He remains close friends with Muy and occasionally drops by.
See, you still have that old deer head hanging there.
Oh, the one you killed in 1965?
Yeah.
Sure, it's right there. Look at it. That same big old buck that you killed back at won a contest. 27 and 3/4 inch spread, 10 points. And back then we weren't, you know, that was the first year we had it for the white spread. And then we changed it to the weight division.
Yeah.
You still have that watch?
You bet I do.
Oh,
Still got
come
it
on,
here.
man. Look. God almighty, look at this. You know, I won this watch selling Goodyear tires. And look at this. And then that was the only thing we could give for a price.
Yeah.
Back at, that's a good watch. You wouldn't want to give it back to me, would you?
No, not really. It's got some
Well, I'm sure it's got a lot of memories.
good memories, ain't it?
Winning a contest back then, and it's worth it. What are you going to be doing this hunting season?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe still look for another one like that.
Well, it's
It'd be
pretty.
hard, it'd be hard to find.
And those kind of deer you don't kill every day.
No.
It's just one of those deals that be at the right place, right location, and you'll be able to take a good one
Yeah.
out. But my God, you already got yours, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
When?
I've got to get back to work.
Okay.
You think
Well-
you're going to be coming back maybe next Saturday or so?
I'll probably be around.
We're going to have a
Come
pachanga,
by.
you know,
We
right there.
try to make it
And,
anyway.
you know. All right.
When?
It's good seeing you again.
Mm-hmm.
Come back and see us.
Perhaps this year's winner will be one of the many hunters constantly bringing in some excellent specimen to be weighed, measured, and recorded. Jimmy Montemayor brought this head in for Muy to score.
He might have a little penalty right here, which I doubt it, you know, but... And he looks, I mean, he's so symmetrical. How far did you shoot him?
200 yards.
200 yards. You rattle him up?
Yes, sir. Amos rattle.
Well, by God, you know, if you get it in, you know, that'd be fantastic. Well, notice that it's properly tagged. That was the first thing that you told him, right?
Yes, sir.
What kind of bush was he hitting right there? Look.
Was that you?
How far was he? I mean, when he came out running.
He come in behind me, he smelled me 25 yards. Bolton ran, he stopped. Made his last mistake.
Yeah.
Is this your biggest deer?
Yeah, the biggest one. So.
He signed with Greg.
Huh?
He signed with Greg.
You hunted with Greg? Well, this ones, they don't come out every day.
No.
This is truly a Muy Grande.
We.
Other than that, you know, I think, you know, once we get that tablet right up here, I don't know. He's going to be very close in making the book right here. You know, we saw this points right in here.
It measured a 20-inch spread with 13-inch tines. The deer had a 24-inch main beam, and he field dressed 155 pounds. Maybe the one that will win the Muy Grande Deer contest is still out there. Although Linnell can't win his own contest, he still shows by this hunt why he's considered to be one of the best. It's early morning, about an hour after sunup, and another foggy day. This is the Brasada Ranch about 25 miles south of Freer. Muy's been here off and on for about 3 days. With all the goings-on of the contest, it's hard for him to find the time nowadays to get away. Like most trophy hunters, Muy has already seen many good bucks he's decided to pass up. Just when it looks like he won't take a deer this year, a beautiful high 10-pointer steps out. No matter how many deer an experienced hunter sees, when a buck like this is in his sights, the feeling is almost overwhelming. A careful aim, a squeeze of the trigger, and the buck is his. The telltale hop lets Muy know the heart shot was true. Since the deer ran into the brush, Muy waits 20 to 30 minutes in order not to spook the buck into running further. It only takes going once into that thick thorn and cactus brush and trying to drag out a deer to give you the patience to wait a little.
Oh, yeah.
We follow Muy tracking his buck and wonder if we'll ever find anything in this stuff. But a few more steps and a turn later, and our trophy is waiting for us. Tell us how it feels, Muy.
Man, what a magnificent animal. Look at this. Gorgeous. The height. Oh man, look at this. Man, what a magnificent animal. High head Harry. We got him. What a magnificent animal.
What's the spread on that thing, Muy?
20 inches. But he's going to score very high, Boone and Crockett. Very high, Boone and Crockett. See, I've got another buck that's course over 160, Boone and Crockett. And this one right here would definitely is going to do it. Just by the heights right here. Long beams right here. This is High Head Harry. We've been after here for about 5 years now. Finally, we're able to get him. Man, I'm excited. See if this time with a match right here, it'll have been just perfect. Perfect, perfect.
Muy's deer turned out to score 160 gross Boone and Crockett points. What a nice trophy. He had a 20-inch spread with 12-inch tines and 25-inch main beams. The deer field dressed 150 pounds. Well, it's almost the end of deer season now in South Texas, and the Pachanga's held that draws a crowd from all around the countryside. Pachanga. Even the name sounds like the kind of fun it represents. Food, music, and deer hunters enjoying a few hours of companionship from the sometimes days of solitude. During the Pachanga, I got a chance to visit with an old friend.
Lloyd, thank you for inviting me to come over to your hunting
Pleasure
camp.
to have you back again. You remember that old boy?
Oh, you better believe it, you know.
1979, wasn't it?
And outstanding, Eddie.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
He was a good one. I think that's still your #1 overall Muy Grande
Well, it's
winner.
a record holder.
Yeah.
You got him in 1979, right?
Mm-hmm.
And had the body weight, the spread, the points. And
You know, one thing that I've enjoyed is telling the story about this old deer. And I think I've only told it to you one time. You probably were drunk and don't remember it. Let me tell you about it again.
Listen.
Do you remember?
I've
you
heard
remember
that story several times already, but hey, when it comes to a typical South Texas story, I'm ready, man.
You remember in 1979, I rolled into your Texaco station and...
The high price gas, right?
Yeah, right. I told you, I said, Muy, I'm going to win the contest this year. And you laughed, and I think you charged me twice for gasoline for telling a lie you thought was a lie. You didn't even give me a free tank of gas when I came back with a winner that year.
Yeah, but we cleaned your windshield.
You really did. Real good job with that. I saw that deer the day before the season opened, and I knew where he was holed up, and I just stayed with him for 4 days, and I got lucky. I think skill is one thing in hunting, but luck, I think, reigns supreme. And I really want to say something to you and all the people associated with Muy Grande. Without the kind of contest and without the things that people like you have done for deer in South Texas, we wouldn't have the opportunity to hunt these kind of animals. Game management and proper hunting has really brought us a long ways. And I think hunting overall is improving every year, simply because of the knowledge and the background that we have now in whitetail. There are bigger ones out there. I've seen a few of them, but I just haven't bagged anymore. I've got some good ones, but he's still the number one.
I'm telling you, when you brought that deer in, how many guys were hanging around that old pickup truck?
I couldn't count them.
You remember
uncountable.
We said, let's drive this truck around here and get these guys a little
We
bit
had them
of
lined up out on the street and everywhere, didn't we? It was fun. You know, it's a thrill to accomplish something in life, and this is no real accomplishment on my part. It's luck. But to be part of an overall winner, of course, it makes me feel real good. But it also makes me feel good to know that we have people like you conducting honest, good competition for the people to hunt. You know, Moy, we could kill a deer like this on 50 acres, 100 acres, 10,000 acres. Well, you don't have to have nowadays a big ranch if you manage properly and do things like you're supposed to do in the wild. You agree with that?
I agree completely. I mean, man, I guess when we put the measuring score for how we score the Muy Grande, it gives every hunter a chance in South Texas.
You remember how wide this deer was?
Very well.
I measured him at, I think, 28 inches and a half, and you measured him 27 and a quarter, and I got to looking at my tape, and I think the first inch was broken off, and you wouldn't give it back to me. Remember that? But he scored good with 12 points and a good spread. Why? He weighed over 180 pounds when I shot him. By the time I got him in to weigh him in at your contest, he was down to 171. So.
You know, to stay as a leader like that for this long, you know, a lot of people have said, you know, boy, that deer was just one of those magnificent bucks, you know, it just...
20 years you've had that contest.
Right, 21.
21 years, and he's the overall best scoring deer. And of course, I'm proud to have him, but I'm also proud that we've got the kind of deer in Texas that are still out there better than him, and I've seen them. I wish we had hanging on our wall all the good deer you and I have seen over the years. Man. How many good real trophy bucks have we watched through binoculars and almost squeezed off on?
Well, you know, I'm going to be hanging around here with you in your hunting camp here for the next 2 or 3 days.
I'm going to be watching
Then maybe you could give me a trick or two, because we always try to learn something about them deer.
Let's go have a cool and
talk about it. I'm ready. Let's go get it going.
The end of Texas deer season doesn't mean the end of the contest. The Muy Grande has many categories, including Best Mexico Deer, and Mexico season lasts through January. We followed Bill Newton and veteran hunting guide Greg Aguilar on a hunt through the Demopolis region of Old Mexico, about 50 miles south of Laredo. It's Bill's first Mexico hunt. They decide to hunt safari style on a platform built above Greg's four-wheel drive pickup. About sundown the previous day, a nice 14-pointer was spotted in this area, chasing a doe. Once again, it's almost sundown when Greg spots the prize about 200 yards away and signals the driver to stop. Bill has also seen the buck and wastes no time in sighting him in. It's a perfect shot. You know, it's been estimated that the average time between when a hunter spots a deer until the time he has to decide to shoot is about 12 seconds. The decision on this deer was about average. Greg and Bill carefully approached the deer. It's a nice 14-point rack. Bill's buck also had a 23-inch spread, and he field dressed 150 pounds. A few weeks later, back in Freer, the award ceremony is held. It's really a party and an award ceremony, with more food, music, and beer. It draws a large crowd not only of winners and runners-up, but of those hunters who understand what it takes to come away with the real prize, the elusive white-tailed deer. Perhaps next year they'll be able to take home a trophy like this. Well, that's it. The end of another Muy Grande deer contest. And Bill, Muy, and me are getting in one last wild boar hunt before packing into gear for another season. You know, even though South Texas offers many varieties of game, every conversation still seems to begin and end with white-tailed deer. Just look at those guys tell their deer stories. As I listen to Muy and Bill relive their hunts, I already feel that yearning for another South Texas deer season, because I know Muy Grande is still out there.